So new patch notes. This should be pretty good. 12.12.30, not 12.13, not 0.13, 12.12.30 chat. So they've expanded the lighthouse location, added the ability to visit the island where the lighthouse is located, and also added new interiors inside water treatment facility complex. Yeah, there's supposed to be, I think, some new underground locations at the water treatment plant. So it almost makes me wonder if it's going to be like a D2, having like a strictly CQB environment in that map would be pretty cool. Even though there is lots, but like they added 3 bosses, commanders of the ex-USEC PMC group known as Rogues, Knight, Big Pipe, and Bird Eye. Big Pipe refers to the grenade launcher and serves as a role of massive firepower in battle and always rushes towards the enemy to reach combat distance. I mean, yeah, you got a fucking grenade launcher, so you got to get kind of close. That's going to be scary, dude. Because I don't think have any bosses or raiders actually have ever used a grenade launcher. And they cover this later in the patch notes, but what's cool is like these guys aren't limited to one specific area of a map or any given map for that example. Besides like they list them in the patch notes: Shoreline, Woods, Lighthouse, Customs. So they're not on every map, but they're on a lot of maps. So bosses help each other use all available weapons and are hostile to everyone, players of any faction, scabs, and raiders. I like that they specifically said and raiders. This makes me wonder if they've actually affected some of the rules of engagement between different factions in the game. For example, raiders are supposed to be hostile to everybody besides themselves because they're fucking raiders. They're terror groups like evil henchmen, bodyguard guys. It makes me wonder if now maybe raiders are hostile to more things within the game, like scab bosses, regular scabs, like AI scabs. This is a big feature, and this is going to be really good for a lot of you guys who want to play Escape from Tarkov but just can't like feel the confidence in terms of your ability to go out and play a raid and know what it's like with like players and scabs and all that. So those of you who own EOD edition, you can use this new offline co-op feature. And also for people who want to make like guides, test stuff, make like machinimas. There's a lot of opportunity here to do some really fucking cool stuff. And I'm excited to see this finally in the game. So cool. Yeah, that's a huge feature. Really excited to see that added to the game. It's just more so for like a lot of the creatives and the technical people who just want to be able to go in and test stuff and not have to like spend money and actually play Escape from Tarkov, right? As well as new players who can just fundamentally kind of learn the game more and just kind of get a little bit more wet within the mechanics of the game. And these new animations that they showed in the devlog look really fucking nice. And more so, I'm excited to see how these animations actually affect the way we move and how we play the game, like how we traverse the game as a PMC. Because the last time they did this in 0.12, which is when they added reserve, it did in fact change the way that we moved and like played within the game. Like the game overall, in just terms of how you ran, you jumped, everything just kind of felt a little bit different. And so I'm excited to see exactly what the game feels like now with these new animations and what changes that means in terms of just like traversing in our raids. Updated animations for character movement, jumps, stances, added new breathing animations, melee attack animations, weapon draw, and holstering. So complete rework of the like equipping and just moving in general. So I have a feeling, again, this is going to change the way the game feels when you play it. When you like click A and D and when you jump, it's not going to feel exactly the same. Added sprint animations that change depending on weapon type: rifle, pistol, melee, grenade, and its length. So a 3-cell to a 7-cell item, depending on the size of the cell, so length of the weapon. You'll have a completely different like sprint animation. This is another big one. I think this is going to be a patch note that a lot of people who are kind of like, oh, scab karma, it's kind of shitty. Like sometimes I kill scabs and I don't know the difference between a regular AI scab and a player, and I fuck up sometimes. Shit happens. These daily tasks for the player scabs are going to be huge. Added daily tasks for player scabs. The tasks will be given out by fence once a day and will be available after building the new intelligence center in the hideout, regardless of PMC character level. So if you get those military documents, you build that intel center in the hideout, you'll get these daily tasks. And I think these will be pretty fun and definitely worth doing, especially in terms of like scab karma, because scab karma is pretty useful. Added a flare gun and a single shot flare round when lighting flare ammo. Shooting red signals, flares will call in a plane with an airdrop and fly to the nearest location. So we can call in our own airdrops now. And I'm sure they'll potentially still happen randomly, and they'll probably do events this wipe with airdrops as well. Updated the airdrop mechanics. Added 4 types of containers with unique content: weapons, medicines, supplies, and general purpose. Added countermeasure flares when flying in and dropping the container. Updated the plane's flying trajectories and decreased the engine sound volume. Thank you. Holy shit, dude. Added tasks for the lighthouse territories. Updated the base clothing models for USEC and the Bear PMC. Added new head models for you, Second Bear PMC. Added new weapons and customizations for them. Benelli M3 Super 90 shotgun. If you guys don't know what that is, it's a pump and semi-auto shotgun. You can switch it between both pump and semi. It's a really nice shotgun. Benelli makes really nice firearms. HK G36. That's a big one for me. I honestly hope this gun's like not garbage, because I've always loved G36 in video games. I think they're really cool in real life too. I've never really played with like a real G36, but I've made like some of the remanufactured ones in the US, and they're pretty cool. Company named Tommy Built makes them, and they're pretty awesome. But my buddies have had some issues running certain types of ammo in them, so they seem to be a little picky. Change the bonus for the perception skill. Now the hearing radius is increased by 0.3% per level, up to 15% for max level. Before this change, the hearing radius was 0.7 and was up to 35%. That's a pretty substantial nerf to perception. So I honestly think that's a good thing. It just kind of means that you're just not going to artificially hear people further away, frankly. But you can a little bit. Added new outfits for both PMC factions. Added new crafting recipes in Hideout. Nice. Rework the elite metabolism skill. Now with 0 hydration and energy, you will not receive any thirst or hunger damage, but still receive other negative effects. Before this change, there were no negative effects at all. Another substantial nerf to another skill. Rework the elite strength skill effect. Now weapons equipped on sling, on back, and holster become weightless. All other equipment, item weight in rigs, backpacks, pouches, and secured containers is counted normally. Before this change, all equipment and weapons were weightless. Honestly, that's perfect. That's fucking perfect. You still get a perk from it that isn't necessarily OP. So now you can bring in like heavy ass weaponry, you know, PKP, fucking grenade launcher, Ash 12, whatever the fuck you want to run. If it's a big fucking gun, you can run that in and not worried about getting slowed down, and wear even heavier armor if you want to. So we got new sounds for Bear, new sounds of movement on top various surface types. Oh, so they did tweak the sounds. That's actually really important. I wonder if this means they finally changed the clunk clunk of every wood object in the game and like the same metal for every metal. This could be pretty interesting. I'm excited to actually hear what these sound like. Numerous balancing changes for item parameters. So hopefully this means they've reworked a lot of weapon stats and recoil. Various balancing changes across weapon characteristics. Also good. So hopefully this means more guns are just a little bit more viable. Yeah, a lot of little like intricate stuff like the sounds. I want to hear what the new footstep sounds are like. I wanted to see the animations in game, and I also want to see how the inertia feels and whatnot. Overall, this is a good patch. I think there's a lot here in terms of just like core changes that will kind of affect early, mid to late Tarkov. You know, it won't feel exactly the same. No, there was no patch notes that talked about the armor hitbox system at all. Nikita's been saying for a hot minute that armor system reworks will come with 0.13, and that'll come with streets as well. That's going to be like a much bigger patch than this one. What are your thoughts on getting tuned from Lighthouse, Snipe Lane, and Ambush City? I mean, lighthouses are just a really long, drawn-out map with a lot of huge lanes on them. And if you have like certain long-range weapons or 50 cals or grenade launchers, you know, that map has a lot of space for you to work with. I'm excited to see Terminal kind of added in there in the middle between Shoreline as well as Lighthouse. I feel like Terminal is just going to be a fun map in general to play.